Everybody's they calling me over here, but
No worries, man. No
sorry.
worries.
But as a fighter, we have to kind of look inside of ourselves and say, hey, I got to make a decision. Do I want to risk this? And kind of set up that gateway for when you stop fighting. I think too many times as fighters, we don't know what the next step in life is because we're so involved in the right here, the right now, that when it's over, we don't know where to go. We're depressed. We don't have an identity because we're so wrapped up and so involved and we want to be great. So while we're in the moment, there should be somebody in the background saying, "Hey, let's set this up, let's set that up." So you have a future after fighting because it's such a short window in our lives. If you really think about it on a big picture, it's a little blip on the radar as far as life.
Yeah, I mean, you look at someone like John Jones, and he definitely sees himself as like a champion of like mixed martial arts, and that's like his personality. And you think maybe that's why he does these reckless things. I mean, what are your views on like John and like the drug issue that's going on in mixed martial arts? I mean, the guy that won your series of Ultimate Fighter got tested for steroids. I mean, it's kind of crazy what's going on right now.
It's crazy, man. And when it comes to John, I think it's more sad than crazy. Um, do I feel bad for John? It's a catch-22 again because you can only feel bad for somebody but so many times. And
Yeah,
John has been blessed with a lot of different opportunity and a lot of second chances, third chances, fourth chances, and it's just bad decisions. Do I think he's a malicious, bad person? No. But I just feel like he has the wrong people around him. People that want to use him, people that say he loves him but really could care less. And it's just not enough people that's telling him the right things to do. And when you're when you get away with hitting a pregnant woman and not serving any jail time or real repercussion. You fail a drug test and you get a slap on the wrist. You there's always like something that prevents him from getting in real trouble. And that in itself is a huge downfall to his personal growth, his personal development. And as far as like the drugs, these fighters, I was literally just talking to my fiance about this. These fighters are so wrapped up into getting an advantage that they're not even thinking about the results. Like we know we're getting tested, and these guys are failing drug tests left and right. I know for a fact I've fought guys that were on steroids. I know they were taking steroids. Their camps know they were taking steroids, and it's almost like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna not take the fight. You're gonna pass up on the opportunity, or you're gonna risk it and say and go for it. I've lost to guys that were on steroids. I've beaten guys that are on steroids. So for me, it's frustrating. I can understand why GSP took the stance that he did. And if you look at Michael Bisping, this guy, you look at his
yeah,
body. His body really hasn't changed. He's 30, what, 38 now? 36, 38? And he became the champion. He became the champion after USADA came in place.
mm,
Look at all these genetic freaks that were just doing crazy stuff. Head kicks, this, that, looking like a cartoon character. This guy, Michael Bisping, a normal average guy that just works hard, pushes the pace, becomes champion when he's 36, 38 years old. Is there a coincidence that that's when his
yeah.
rise came? No, USADA came involved, leveled the playing field, and this guy got an opportunity and took a chance and took the most of it. So that's where you got to give him credit. But it's not a coincidence. You look at these guys' body, and all of a sudden they went from being a specimen to looking like a dad bod. it's like it's like there's something that's going on. It's like the proof's in the pudding. It's right there in front of us, and these guys are still going to risk it. 5, 6, 7 years from now, guys are still going to be failing drug tests because they're like, I'm just going to try. And they're going to try, and they're going to, until, the punishments are death penalty, immediately, done, bye, then guys are going to risk it. Especially those guys that are fighting once or twice a year getting millions of dollars. If they get suspended for a year, it's no different. They still got their checks. They weren't going to fight for another year anyway. They'll train, they'll practice, their suspension will lift, and they'll fight a week after their suspension is lifted. So, what's the real punishment?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, just talking about UFC 217. I mean, Cody said that TJ was teaching everyone at Team Alpha Male how to dope, which is kind of stupid because you're sort of implicating your whole team anyway. I mean, like, was it like a commonplace for you to sort of see someone like sort of try to like bring other team members into that sort of world? I mean, what did you really see?
It's crazy because look, they tell you misery loves company, right? There's no difference. Like you don't notice, you don't see doctors hanging out with bums. You don't see lawyers hanging out with bums. You see lawyers hanging out with other lawyers. You see fighters hanging out with other fighters. You see doctors hanging out with other doctors. So if you're doing something, somebody close to you must have showed you, and now they're trying to bring more people in because hey, look at the success I'm having. I can't tell you. I never seen TJ stick anything into his arm, or in his butt or whatever it is, or take any crazy supplements. So I'm not going to be the one to speak on that. Cody has a better relationship with him. The one thing I know about Cody is that he wears his emotions on his sleeve. Everything he's ever told me has been spot on. And if TJ was doing something, I'm sure that they would know. If you look at the facts, Chad Mendez. Like, I love the guy. I think he's an awesome fighter, but this guy got popped for performance enhancement drugs, and he's where Team Alpha Male. So obviously, there's one person there. I don't know if there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not going to sit here and judge the guy and criticize him. I personally wouldn't do performance enhancing drugs just because one, they're probably crazy expensive. Two, I like my life. I don't want to have my heart growing, my organs growing, and next thing I know, I drop dead and I can't be around for my kids. So everybody is different. It's crazy. I can't imagine if a fighter like a John Jones will be willing to do cocaine, do drugs that not only can kill you, but you can get locked up and get
Yeah,
put away in jail. If you're willing to do something that's going to hurt your career, hurt your life, who's to say you're not going to take something that's going to help you? It just doesn't make sense. And like I said, I never seen him take drugs either, so I can't speak, on what he's done or what he didn't do. But the numbers are saying that he is.
yeah. That's a really good point. I think it is a bit of a complicated issue. I mean, like just looking at the event as a whole, um, who do you think is gonna win if TJ and Mighty Mouse end up fighting? We talking about weight cutting earlier. I mean, were you really impressed with TJ's performance, or were you concerned that he was gonna get knocked out at some point in that fight?
Listen, man, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I thought for sure TJ was going to get knocked out. It was razor close. Saved by the bell. You hear it all the time. First round, but there's no doubt that TJ is a top level fighter. The guy is skilled. He's versatile. He's just an all around phenomenal fighter, and anything can happen in that cage. That's why they have the fights, man. People think that you're invincible until you're shown not to be invincible. You look at Rose Namajunas. Nobody ever thought that she's gonna go out there and knock out young JJ like that. Standing up, everybody thought she had a chance it would be a submission. That's why they have the fights. 4 ounce gloves. All it takes is one mistake, one moment, 1 second, and it can always go either way. When you have two top level guys, number one and number two guys in the world,
Yeah,
anything can happen. And you know who won that last night at UFC 217? The fans. We were able to see an amazing card from top to bottom,
yeah.
and it was we were fortunate to be able to witness that. Am I upset that Cody lost? Of course I am because I have a personal relationship with him. I've known Cody before he was in the UFC. We spoke, we talked, we built a relationship. So I'm emotionally invested. I've known TJ just from the show, and it's just like I'm obviously biased, but you can't take anything away from TJ. He had a lot of different obstacles up in front of him, whether it's ex teammates, trash talking, the fact that Cody knocked him out in practice. It's like there's a lot of different adversities that's playing up here mentally, and he overcame all of that. He rose above that. He fixed his mistakes when he lost the belt to Dominic Cruz because he got overly excited. He went back to the drawing board and he made those adjustments. So you have to give that man credit. But I tell people, it's not about how you react when you're winning. It's all about how you react once you've lost, once you've got knocked down to that mountain. It's easy to stand up on top. You get a whole bunch of fans, followers, friends. Everybody comes out the woodworks. But it's when you're at your darkest moments is what's going to really, truly, tell who you are as a person. And the fact that Cody didn't bug out and then he gave TJ a hug, and like that made me feel good because I knew how much emotion was wrapped up in there. I lived it for 7 weeks, and
Yeah.
it was literally an emotional situation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. And just looking at like the performances of the middleweights, last night, and that's your weight division, and looking at the recent Bellator card as well with Misasi struggling against Flamenco. Is there any like name that pops out to you that you think maybe I could take him? I was thinking maybe around the Brunson Machida fight. I thought maybe you would have a strong like shot there standing up. I mean, is there any name that you sort of thinking right now that maybe if you had the chance?
Yeah, see, man, the thing with me, like, I'm fortunate enough that I train with, Chris Weidman,
Yeah,
and I think that he's hands down one of the best middleweights in the world. And obviously, practice is practice, and when it's fight night, different things come out. But I'm training with some of these top guys that come in here to train with him, and I know that the difference between the number one, the champion, or the number 110th guy in the rankings is confidence
yeah,
and belief. And after GSP did what he just did, it's like you got to believe in yourself. When I watched these fights before I got into the UFC, before I even started competing, I was like, I know I could compete with these guys. I know I could go out there and be the best. And there's a tons of great matchups for me because I tell you what, not many guys are gonna like just jump to the opportunity to fight me because one, if they lose, I steal everything that they worked for. Now, if they win, they're like, oh well, you're supposed to win. Like he's an up and comer, this and that. So most people don't like those fights. Most fighters run from those fights. They want the big money fights,
yeah,
or they want the easiest way that they're going to get to the next chance to get a belt. So there's tons of fighters that I look and I'm just like, man, that guy's missing something now, like a Machida. It's not like he just fell off the cliff and now he's not as skillful. He's missing that confidence, or he just came back from a drug suspension. So
yeah,
it's just like it's one or the other, and it's sad that we're even saying this, but it's always like he needed that crutch. Did he really need those drugs to be the fighter that he was, or it's more mental? And I always put it to, hey, to me it's mental because you're gonna push hard, or you're gonna make an excuse, or you're gonna give up, and that's it. That's the bottom line. So I'll fight pretty much anybody, man. I'm like, I believe in myself. I don't care what any analysts say. I don't care what anybody thinks. Oh, this guy has a shot. He doesn't have a shot. I got into this sport on a whim. Nobody. I was literally at UFC 101 watching Anderson Silva fight Forrest Griffin, and everybody was like, "Oh man, this is cool," and I was like, "Man, this is cool," but I want to be in that ring. They thought
yeah,
I was drunk. They said, "There's no chance in hell. You're too fat. You're too slow. You're too old to just pick this up." And I said, "I believe in myself," and that's all I needed was just a belief, just something that lit that fire in me, and I gave it a shot, and it took off for me. So
yeah,
that same confidence I had to enter the sport is the same confidence that I have now. So for me, I step up to any challenge. The bigger the challenge, the more people don't believe. Those are the fights that I want.